These apple recipes are definitely a must try. Hey guys, if you are new, my name is Vanessa and we are going to start this week off with all things apple. I will have links or recipes written out, whatever you guys will need to create these recipes at home down in the description box. So let's go ahead and get right into them. Okay, we are going to start these apple recipes off with cookies that my kids are very excited to try. I've got my oven preheating to 350 degrees. I've got 2 baking sheets here lined with parchment paper and all my ingredients out. So I'm gonna be using 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, almost 2 cups, 1 3/4 cups of old-fashioned oats. Then I have 1/2 cup of butter here that I'm letting sit out so it gets nice and soft. I'm also going to be using 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, 1 large egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then 1 cup, and I went ahead and chopped up my apple, so 1 cup of chopped apple. And I'm leaving the peel on, but you could totally take it off. We're gonna add the flour to a bowl, and I have a little helper with these cookies. The cinnamon, the nutmeg, the salt, and the baking soda. We're going to whisk these up.
It's like a light brown kind of.
Okay, add in your oatmeal, or your oats actually. And now we're gonna stir this in. Okay, now you're going to get a large bowl, add your sugar and your brown sugar. Okay, I did go ahead and melt the butter. I didn't mean to melt it completely, but that's what happened. So I'm adding that in now as well. And I'm gonna use my hand mixer and mix this up for about 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, now I'm adding in the vanilla. Okay, now we're adding in the egg. Rose cracked it in this little bowl just to make sure we didn't get any shells in the rest of our mixture. And we're gonna mix this up. Okay, now I'm taking the dry ingredients that we mixed together and adding them to our wet, and I'm gonna mix this together. Last ingredient is the apples, and I'm just going to use a spoon to fold these into the mixture. Now I'm gonna use my cookie scoop and just get about 12, hopefully, on each pan. My oven is ready to go. I'm gonna bake these for 12 to 15 minutes. Okay, I let these cool for about 5 minutes and got them on a plate, and now they are ready to eat up. These are also super easy to freeze. They will last for about 3 months. You can use parchment paper just to separate them to help them not stick, but definitely a easy and scrumptious fall apple recipe. Okay, we are going to start this recipe off with 1/3 cup of brown sugar and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And I'm just gonna use my little teaspoon here to mix these 2 together. All right, now we're gonna do 1.5 cups of flour and 1 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder in another bowl, and we are going to whisk that up. All right, bowl number 3, and I'm going to add in 1 2/3 cup of sugar. And this is 1/2 cup of butter that has been sitting out on my counter for a while, so it is nice and soft. And using an electric mixer, you're just going to beat these 2 ingredients together. Next, I've got 2 eggs. I am going to beat in 1 at a time. All right, both of my eggs are mixed in, and now I'm going to add 1 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and I'm gonna mix this in. I'm gonna use a spoon and just scrape the sides and get everything all incorporated here. Okay, I'm going to add my flour mixture into my butter mixture and beat these together. Now we are going to add in 1/2 cup of milk and then mix this up. in another bowl, I already chopped or peeled and chopped 2 very large apples. So that's in here. I'm going to add the brown sugar and the cinnamon mixture and just stir this and get all the apples nice and coated. Okay, and now I'm gonna make another bowl of the brown sugar cinnamon mixture. So about a 1/3 cup of the brown sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon, and just mix that together. I've got some layering to do. So I have a loaf pan that I lined with foil, and I also sprayed it because I don't want any of my pieces to stick if I want to cut it up inside here. That helps with that. So I'm gonna put half of my batter in the bottom here and spread that out. Then I'm going to put half of my apples and kind of spread that out as well. And then I'm going to sprinkle half, this is gonna be super sweet, half of the brown sugar cinnamon mixture, and then just repeat. So I'm gonna put the rest of the batter on top now, then the rest of my apples, and top it with the rest of the brown sugar cinnamon mixture. Okay, but that is not it. Before we put it in our 350-degree oven, I'm going to mix it up. So I'm just gonna take a butter knife and kind of swirl it through that away, and then I'm going to swirl it through this away, just so the apple and everything gets kind of mixed in there, but it's still chunky, if that makes any sense. So just kind of using my knife to push the apples down and swirl everything together, so it's not necessarily a layered bread, it's a sweet concoction. Okay, and this one is gonna take about 60 minutes to bake in your 350-degree oven. All right, so this took longer than the recipe stated, about 20 minutes longer, but that's okay. I'm sure it's still gonna be delicious. So I've let this sit out for probably about 20 minutes now, so it has cooled off, and I'm going to make the glaze to go on top of it, but I am going to double the glaze. So I don't know if my pumpkin video went out first or if this apple video is going out, but I made a pumpkin coffee cake and I didn't double the glaze, and it was delicious, but I do feel like this one is gonna be super yummy with more glaze. So I am gonna go ahead and double it, which just means we're gonna do 1 cup of powdered sugar, and we're gonna start with 4 tablespoons of milk. But if it really just depends on the consistency. If I feel like that's too thick, then I will add 1 tablespoon at a time until I get to the consistency that I want. Okay, I am actually going to add a little bit more powdered sugar because that 4 tablespoons, it's a little too runny for me. I want it to be thicker. Okay, I've got this mixed up as best as I can get it with a spoon. All my whisks are already in the dishwasher, and the dishwasher is running, but I think that is okay. So I'm just going to kind of drizzle this thickly over the top. Then I'm going to cover this and put this in my fridge, and it is going to be delicious tomorrow. This glaze is gonna set up and harden a little bit, and you can eat it cold or heat it up in the microwave, and it will still be delicious either way. Now we are going to make a caramel apple cinnamon roll lasagna. These are all the ingredients, so not too much. I feel like it's gonna be pretty easy. I will have the recipe that I found online linked down below, so you guys can check it out and all the measurements. But I have 2 cans of cinnamon rolls, some caramel syrup, whatever kind you want, cornstarch, sugar, ground cinnamon, ground nutmeg, and then I already did all my chopping required for this recipe, and this is 4 fairly large apples that I peeled and diced up. You guys hear my laundry? My laundry is about to go off. And then I have a 7x11 pan that I already sprayed, and my oven is preheating to 375 degrees. In my bowl with my apples, I'm adding in half a cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, about 1/4 teaspoon of the ground nutmeg, and 1 teaspoon of the cinnamon. I'm just going to mix all of this up so all the apples are nicely coated. Okay, like I said, this is pretty easy. I'm just going to spread out the cinnamon rolls with the cinnamon on the inside. And I'm just gonna press them down and make them fit the best that I can in my dish. And side note, I am not following the recipe precisely. I'm doing just a quicker version. The recipe suggests cutting these into 1/4 inches and then pushing them down, but you'll get the same effect this way. It just might not look as pretty, but if you are all about being fast in the kitchen, this way is definitely quicker. Now I'm just gonna take my caramel sauce, and I'm not measuring. I'm just going to put a little drizzle all over the bottom. And now I'm gonna put in about half of my apple mixture here. And then just spread it out the best that you can. And if you are a huge fan of caramel, go ahead and put some more drizzle on top of the apples. Okay, now I do want it to look a little bit more on the pretty side for the top. So I'm just using my fingers, and I am going to flatten out these cinnamon rolls the best that I can, and then just place them on top of the apples. And you could have done this for the bottom as well, but again, I'm just trying to be a little bit more on the quick side in the kitchen today. Now I'm just gonna take my extra pieces and kind of fill in these openings. That way there's a little bit of cinnamon roll in every bite. This is definitely messy, so I'm going to wash my hands. Okay, now I'm going to put the rest of my apples and of course, more caramel. Okay, the reason why I'm not putting more cinnamon rolls on top is because I have tried several recipes very similar to this, and it always requires the baking time to be more, and it ends up burning. So I am opting just to have it kind of like an open, maybe messy dessert lasagna. So I am going to cover this with foil and then bake it for 30 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes are up, but we are not done. I'm going to take the foil off. This smells amazing, and I'm gonna put it back in my oven, still at 375, for about 15 minutes. Okay, it smells absolutely amazing. Again, I used the recipe that I have in the description box, kind of like an inspiration. I did not follow it exactly, but I am going to let this cool completely, so I'll check it at about 15 minutes. It should be cool enough, and then we don't want to waste the icing packets that came with our cinnamon rolls, so I'm going to just drizzle both packets over the top, and then it is going to be a time to try it out. It is time to munch on this. I already took a bite. So good, you guys. So this would be fun for breakfast if you had the time. It is a little time consuming, the cooking time at least, if you got up a little earlier or on the weekends eating more of a brunch. So I just wanted to show, I just use a little spatula to get out a little bit, and it is not mushy. That cook time was perfect, the 30 and then the 15. The cinnamon rolls are completely cooked. There's none of them that are undone. Well, at least in this little square right here. I think it's good everywhere else. I'm glad I changed up the recipe a little bit. I think this is gonna be more pleasing to my family and my kids, but definitely a keeper, super yummy, and definitely for a crowd or a very large family, because we are definitely gonna have leftovers of this. But I am gonna go ahead and eat a little piece while the kids are all playing outside. Okay, so that is all I have to share with you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I did a poll on my community tab asking if you guys wanted to see pumpkins or apples first, and apples definitely won. So next up, I think next week, I will be sharing several pumpkin recipes. So definitely hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss out. I'm sharing a lot of food content this month. I kind of jam-packed it, so you guys are gonna get so many yummy, delicious ideas, and you're definitely not going to want to miss them. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.